Om Bhagavate Vasudevaya Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiri Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naistiki. So today we are starting chapter 3 of Bhagavad Gita entitled Karma Yoga. Text 1. So we'll try to cover first 8 verses. That is a theme, first theme of this chapter. Arjuna Vacha Jayasi Chet Karmanaste Mata Buddhir Janardana Tat Kim Karmani Bhore Mam Niyojyasi Keshava. Arjun said, O Janardhan, O Keshav, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare if you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work? So, this conversation between Krishna and Arjun, actually, Ved Vyasa divided into different chapters, but it wasn't like Krishna said, okay, is chapter 2 ending and chapter 3 starting. So, it wasn't like that. It's a conversation between two friends or a student and a teacher. So, but in the previous verses, when Krishna was talking about Buddhi Yoga, he spoke so many times of Buddhi Yoga, especially in text 50. Yeah, text 50, Buddhi Yukto Jahati Ubesuk Vidushkrite. And then text 51, Karmjam Buddhi Yukta He Phalam Tektadahi. And text 49, Duren Yavaram Karma Buddhi Yoga Dhananjaya. So basically, he is stressing on Buddhi. Buddhi Yoga, Prabhupada translated as Bhakti Yoga. But Arjun understood Buddhi Yoga means intelligence. Well, the ultimate intelligence is to be engaged in the service of Krishna. That is ultimate intelligence. So that is real use of Buddhi. But Arjun was thinking Buddhi means no work, just sit down and gain some knowledge. So this is what he's trying to say. Okay, Shav, why do you want to engage me in this ghastly warfare if you think an intelligence is better than fruitive work? So if you think I should just sit and study scriptures, why should I get into this sinful work of killing so many people? Because towards the end of chapter, Krishna says you should fight. Because then he speaks about it's very difficult to control the senses if you don't use the senses, if you don't engage the senses. So basically he tells him to fight. But at the same time, he tells him to use buddhi. So Arjun was thinking, by using buddhi, using intelligence, I would be rather not fighting, because real use of intelligence is why get into this ghastly, and Arjun uses word ghastly, karmani ghore. Ghore means ghastly warfare. Why do you want me to fight? Prabhupada writes in the purport, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, has very elaborately described the constitution of the soul in the previous chapter, with a view to delivering his intimate friend Arjuna from the ocean of material grief. And the path of realization has been recommended, Buddhi Yoga or Krishna consciousness. Sometimes Krishna consciousness is misunderstood to be inertia. Inertia means no activity. And one with such a misunderstanding often withdraws to a secluded place to become fully Krishna conscious by chanting the holy name of Lord Krishna. Of course, chanting the holy names of Krishna is the ultimate activity, but not by giving up all other activities, because we are not at that level of, say, Haridas Thakur. Haridas Thakur would chant 192 rounds every day. But still, even while after chanting 192 rounds, he would still do his preaching activities and other activities. But we cannot imitate him. So this is what Prabhupada is writing. Krishna consciousness or Buddhi Yoga doesn't mean inertia, doesn't mean no activity. It means activities, but in the service of Krishna. So Arjun also thought of Krishna consciousness or Buddhi Yoga or intelligence in spiritual advancement of knowledge as something like retirement from active life and the practice of penance and austerity at a secluded place. So this is the mentality of most of us. Krishna consciousness for us, it's like I want to give up everything. I don't like my work. I don't like my family. I don't like my relatives. I don't like my neighbors. I don't like the society I'm in. I want to get out and get out of here. I just want to leave everything and get out of here. But we are not fit right now to live in a secluded place. We think we can control our minds by living in a secluded place? No, not really. In fact, somebody was telling me a few days ago that they had met some yogi, and that yogi was in Himalayas doing his tapasya, and fellow yogis were there. And he said these fellow yogis, they were kind of newcomers, so they didn't have full taste of tapasya. But even while doing tapasya, the mind is so difficult to control because they would get into some talks of sense gratification. Even while sitting in the caves of Himalayas and doing some tapasya, they would get into talks of sense gratification. So it's so difficult, so difficult. And if you think just by leaving my work, my family, my society, my duties, I can go and live in Vrindavan or some other secluded place and I can do bhajan for the rest of my life, it's not going to work because we are not accustomed, we cannot acclimated to that kind of life. Arjun was also trying to actually get out of this war. He's using all his excuses, but Krishna wants him to fight. And he did fight after listening to whole Bhagavad Gita. So for Arjun, the use of Buddhi Yoga was, I want to leave my duties. But Krishna doesn't let him go like that. So Prabhupada is saying he wanted to skillfully avoid the fighting by using Krishna consciousness as an excuse. But as a sincere student, he placed the matter before his master and questioned Krishna as to his best course of action. And then further he says, Vyami Shraneva Vakyena Buddhi Mohayasiva me Tadekam Vad Nishchitya Yena Shreyo Ahamapnuyam. My intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively which will be most beneficial for me. Again, the word comes Shreya. Shreya means most benefit. What is benefit for me? That would have been just leave the war, get out of here. But that's not Shreya, that's not the ultimate good for us. So Prabhupada writes, in the previous chapter, as a prelude to the Bhagavad Gita, many different paths were explained, such as Sankhya Yoga, Buddhi Yoga, control of the senses by intelligence, work without fruitive desire, and the... So Krishna gave all this, he covered all these topics in chapter 2. So now Arjun says, please tell me unequivocally, means now please give me the proper, put the proper stress on proper, exactly what I want, I mean the most beneficial thing for me. Because in chapter 2, Krishna basically covered everything. Arjun wanted to clear up these apparently confusing matters so that any common man could accept them without misinterpretation. That is also one of the reasons we need a guru. We need a bona fide guru who can teach us the imports of Bhagavad Gita. Otherwise, we will make mistakes just by reading the shlokas or even by reading Prabhupada's comment, we can make mistakes. Although Prabhupada has tried to explain everything very lucidly, very nicely, but still we need a guru who can explain it to us properly. In other words, by his questions, he's clearing the path of Krishna consciousness for all students who seriously want to understand the mystery of the Bhagavad Gita. So he is asking different questions. So later on, we'll see, because this whole Bhagavad Gita conversation lasted only 48 minutes or so. He declares that Krishna, you are the Param Brahma, Param Dhama. You are the Supreme. So Arjun understood. Arjun had all the knowledge. Who is Krishna? He is basically asking this question for all of us, who are the students of Bhagavad Gita, who will come later on and try to understand what is what, which is better. Buddhi Yoga, Karma Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, which is better. Shri Bhagwan Uvacha, Loke Asmin Dvivedanishta, Pura Prokta Mayanaga, Jnana Yogena Sankhyanam, Karma Yogena Yoginam. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, O sinless Arjuna, I have already explained that there are two classes of men who try to realize the self. Some are inclined to understand it by speculation. Although the word in the shloka is karma yogena, but translated karma yogena means by linking process of devotion. Anytime we use yoga, yoga cannot be without being Krishna conscious. Yoga means and Karma Yoga, actually, if we really go into the deep meaning of Karma Yoga, actually it means bhakti only. There's no other way we can link our karma to Krishna without bhakti. So that's why Prabhupada directly translates it as devotion service. So in the purport, Prabhupada writes, Sankhya Yoga, or the analytical study of the nature of spirit, is a person's inclined to speculate and understand things by experimental knowledge and philosophy. So the Sankhya Yoga means Sankhya. Sankhya means the word, so analyze. People keep on analyzing this. This whole universe is made of that many elements. That many elements are there in the universe. But ultimately, Sankhya Yoga leads one to Bhakti Yoga. There is no other way possible. Because Sankhya Yoga means so many elements are there. Some say 26, some say 28. But ultimately, there is soul and then there is super soul. And the soul and super soul is there, but all the elements are to be used by the soul in the service of the super soul. That's the whole idea of Sankhya Yoga. Both the yogas are interdependent. Both the yogas means Buddhi Yoga and Sankhya Yoga, or the Karma Yoga and Sankhya Yoga. As religion and philosophy, and Prabhupada writes very nice words here, religion without philosophy is sentiment or sometimes fanaticism, while philosophy without religion is mental speculation. The ultimate goal is Krishna, because the philosophers who are also sincerely searching after the absolute truth come in the end to Krishna consciousness. So religion without philosophy is sentiment. Means we can understand it this way. If we just take up the rituals, different rituals that we do in the temple, although they're not rituals for a person who understands the reason behind it or purpose behind it, but if you just take up the rituals without proper understanding of philosophy, they're just merely sentiments. And if you just take up the philosophy without rituals, without the activities, then the philosophy only speculation, because we haven't put it into practice. So ultimately, both, amalgamation of both are required. Not just the philosophy and not just the rituals, is an amalgamation, a combination of both. This is also stated in Bhagavad Gita. The whole process is to understand the real position of the self in relation to the super self. The indirect process is philosophical speculation, by which gradually one may come to the point of Krishna consciousness. And the other process is directly connecting everything with Krishna and Krishna consciousness. So both the paths are there, But one is directly linking oneself to Krishna and the other is indirectly going a little bit roundabout way in connecting with Krishna. So then Prabhupada is writing in the end that by direct method of devotional service is simultaneously easy and sublime to adopt, to make progress. Text 4. Na karmanam narambhan nashkarmyam purushvashnute na cha sanyasnadeva siddhim samadhigacchati. Not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from action. Not by renunciation alone can one attain perfection. So not by merely abstaining from work means if you don't do work, one cannot achieve freedom from reaction. Okay, Prabhupada is describing the renounced order of life can be accepted when one has been purified by the discharge of the prescribed form of duties which are laid down just to purify the hearts of materialistic men. Without purification, what is this purification that Prabhupada is talking about? Or the purification is a purification of desires, purification of consciousness. From body consciousness or from enjoying consciousness to service consciousness to Krishna consciousness. So this purification is very much required. Without purification, one cannot obtain success by abruptly adopting the fourth order of life, which is sannyas. So that's why Krishna is saying, not by merely abstaining from work or not by renunciation alone. Renunciation means giving up. Renunciation means giving up the results of work, sannyas, and not by abstaining from work, while giving up work or giving up the results of work. One cannot alone achieve perfection because before that purification is required. Prabhupada is writing, without purification of heart, sannyas is simply a disturbance to the social order. So the real requirement is the purification of heart. Purification of heart means purification or cleaning of the heart of all sorts of material desires, desires of enjoying yourself. So text 5, na hi kashit kshanam api jatu tishtati akarma krit karite avashah karma sarvah prakriti jar gunah. Everyone is forced to act helplessly according to the qualities required from the modes of material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. So we are all forced to act helplessly according to the qualities or according to the modes of nature that we are in. We have to act like that. Either like Krishna indirectly telling Arjun, you're a Kshatriya. Kshatriya means mode of passion. So you have to act in that mode of passion. You cannot take up the mode of goodness of sannyasis and think, I am in the mode of goodness, I'll leave my work of war and go away and act like a sannyasi, give up the work. No, it's not going to happen. Because you are going to act in the mode of passion even if you take up sannyas. Because purification hasn't taken place yet. It's very important for all of us. If we are in some mode in our material lives, we have some duties as a Vyasta or as a father, mother, or a brother or sister or son or a daughter, or we have duties to perform in the office, in the society. So idea is to keep on working on those duties, at the same time keep on purifying our consciousness. And once the consciousness is purified, once we are ready for next step or maybe the next ashram, Krishna will make the arrangements because Krishna is there to guide us from within. Guru is there to guide us. Devotees or association of saintly persons are there to guide us all the time. How we can make progress further. And Krishna will make the arrangements. If we are ready for, say, sannyas ashram, he will make the arrangements for us to take up sannyas and do the activities of sannyas ashram. He will definitely make the arrangements. So Prabhupada is writing, it's not a question of embodied life, but it's a nature of the soul to be always active. So this is the nature of the soul, that everyone is, Prabhupada is writing, it's always active. Even when we are sleeping, when we are in the bed, even if we are in deep sleep, the mind is still working, means the soul is still active. Without the presence of the spirit soul, the material body cannot move. The body is only a dead vehicle to be worked by the spirit soul, which is always active and cannot stop even for a moment. As such, the spirit soul, now what kind of activity one has to do, that is a different story. As such, the spirit soul has to be engaged in the good work of Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, it will be engaged in the occupations dictated by the illusory energy or Maya. In contact with material energy, the spirit soul acquires material modes, and to purify the soul from such affinities, it is necessary to engage in the prescribed duties enjoined in the Shastras. So the soul has to be engaged in activities. So first activity is the activities of the body, which he has attained through different births, through different lifetimes, different material nature are acting on this body, and then the spirit soul has its own activities of serving Krishna. So if one makes a balance of these two activities, he can lead a very happy life. So writing, any perfect sannyas or any purificatory process is to help reach the ultimate goal of becoming Krishna conscious, without which everything is considered a failure. So nobody can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. So even for a moment, we cannot remain still. Even though we could be sitting in the class and either listening to the lecturer, listening to the speaker, or pretending to listen to the speaker, but mind is always active. Mind is always doing something. So text 6. Samyamya yaste sasvaram indriyathan vimudatma kamithyachara uchyate. One who restrains the senses of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. So many times there are people who say, no, I have achieved that stage. I can leave my body or material duties and go to the forest or go to a spiritual place, and I can concentrate on the Supreme. But what Krishna is saying, one who restrains the senses of action, one who restrains, who controls his knowledge acquiring senses or working senses, but whose mind dwells on sense objects. So because it's so difficult to control the mind, it's the most difficult thing. Mind dwells on sense, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. There are many pretenders who refuse to work in Krishna consciousness, but make a show of meditation, while actually dwelling within the mind upon sense enjoyment. So there are so many pretenders. They'll say we are not going to work, and we are going in samadhi, going for meditation, but the mind is still dwelling upon sense enjoyment because it's so difficult to control the mind. Such pretenders may also speak on dry philosophy in order to bluff sophisticated followers. But according to this verse, these are the greatest cheaters. For sense enjoyment, one can act in any capacity of the social order. Social order means brahmacharya, sannyas, brahmacharya, grahastha, vanaprastha, sannyas. But if one follows the rules and regulations of his particular status, he can make gradual progress in purifying his existence. So the thing is, we don't have to pretend that I am above, I'm beyond these dictates of the senses. We don't have to pretend. We can go along, and we can still try to engage in the service of Krishna, and still go along with our life, where
Prabhuji, your
it
sound voice is not coming.
really everything is on. Is it okay now?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Is it okay? Thank you, ma'am.
Prabhuji,
Oh, it's here.
yeah, it's okay now.
Okay, thank you. And Prabhupada writing, but he who makes a show of being a yogi while actually searching for the objects of sense gratification must be called the greatest cheater, even though he sometimes speaks of philosophy. His knowledge has no value because the effects of such a sinful man's knowledge are taken away by the illusory energy of the Lord. Wonderful line. It's not what we speak of can have any effect on the listeners. It's the purification that we have. It's our how purified we are or how surrendered we are that makes the words more potent. It's not just the words. It's the conviction or the purification that we have. That's what makes the words more potent. Means they can go inside the heart of a person and bring about a change, make some transformation in his heart. That is more important. One may speak very elaborate words, very elaborate languages he might use, and very sophisticated sense he may use, and very high philosophy he might be able to speak on. But if the inner purification is not there, it will not have the effect, the desired effect on the audience. The desired effect, the real effect is of the transformation of the heart. Just imagine Srila Prabhupada, he went to America when he was 69 years old, almost 70, when he went to America. 70 years old Bengali Vaishnav from Bengal. And he was in America preaching to hippies who were there in the late teens or early 20s. And those hippies, especially of New York, when he was early days he was in New York, they had never heard of a person from Bengal, a 70-year-old person coming from Bengal and preaching here. Never, they could not even understand his accent. He had a thick Bengali accent. Even if you listen to his lectures today, he had that thick Bengali accent. And those New Yorkers, hippies, they were born, brought up in New York with that accent. They could not really understand what philosophy Prabhupada was trying to say. But it was a purity of Prabhupada. It was Prabhupada's surrender to Krishna and to the words of his Guru that his words still transformed the hearts of all those hippies. And not just the hippies, his words are still, his words are this Bhagavad Gita purpose, Bhagavatam purpose that we're trying to read. His words are still changing the hearts of so many people. This is the stage of purification. This is a stage of conviction, surrender. And when one reaches that stage, then his words will have real effect of transforming the hearts of persons. Before Prabhupada, so many people have written their commentaries on Bhagavad Gita. Almost 700 editions are there. How many people or how many so-called gurus or speakers could change the hearts of a single person or make him a devotee? Ultimately, through Bhagavad Gita, Sarv Dharman Pariteje, Mam Ekam Sharanam Braja. how many people could surrender to Krishna? Because they were not purified, they were not pure. They could be big swamis, big sannyasis, big eloquent speakers, but that's not the purpose of Bhagavad Gita. That's not the purpose of the spiritual topics, to speak eloquently, to mesmerize a whole audience. The idea is to transform the heart. Idea is to make them take up the process of devotional service, take up the process of surrendering unto the Lord. And that comes not by our words, that comes from our purification, from our surrender, from our sticking to the process of Krishna consciousness. And when that comes, even if somebody uses not so eloquent language, very simple language, and maybe grammatically he could be wrong, but still his words will have the effect, the desired effect on the audience. So that is what we have to strive for, purification. That is what we have to strive for, bhakti. And when that happens, definitely there will be a change in the world. And Prabhupada is writing, his knowledge means one who makes a show of being a yogi. His knowledge has no value because the effects of such a sinful man's knowledge are taken away by the illusory energy of the Lord, by the maya of the Lord. Such a pretender's mind is always impure, and therefore his show of yogic meditation has no value whatsoever. Means he might be able to gather big crowds, he might be able to have thousands and thousands of followers, but the hearts of those followers don't change. That's the idea. Text 7, Yastvindriyani manasa niyamya rabate arjuna karmendriya karma yogam sakta sa vishishyate. On the other hand, if a sincere person tries to control the active senses by the mind and begins karma yoga in Krishna consciousness without attachment, he is by far superior. So, on one side it's a yogi who restrains his senses, but his mind is dwelling on sense gratification. He's called a pretender. On the other hand, if a sincere person, he's trying to control the active senses by the mind. He clearly says, my senses are not under my control. I'm still trying, I'm still struggling, but begins karma yoga in Krishna consciousness without attachment. He is by far superior. Prabhupada is writing, instead of becoming a pseudo-transcendentalist for the sake of wanton living and sense enjoyment, it is far better to remain in one's own business and execute the purpose of life, which is to get free from material bondage and enter into the kingdom of God. The prime Swartha Gati or goal of self-interest is to reach Vishnu. The whole institution of Varna and Ashram is designed to help us reach this goal of life. A householder can also reach this destination by regulated service in Krishna consciousness. See, a householder can also reach this destination by regulated service in Krishna consciousness. Anil Kumar Prabhu, your mic got on. See, Prabhu is saying, a sincere person who follows this method is far better situated than the false pretender who adopts show model spiritualism to cheat the innocent public. A very nice line Prabhupada is writing, a sincere sweeper in the street is far better than the charlatan meditator who meditates only for the sake of making a living. Very wonderful line. So what Prabhupada is trying to say here, or what Krishna is saying, if a sincere person tries to control the senses, but he's still working, he's without attachment, he's by far superior. The example is Prabhupada in the early days, I believe it was in 68 or so, or maybe before, he sent three couples from New York to London to preach. And at that time, ISKCON didn't even have its own Bhagavad Gita published. We had small books like Easy Journey to Other Planets, and Prabhupada was using Bhagavad Gita edition of Dr. Sarvapalli Radhakrishnan. Prabhupada said his translations are pretty close to the right thing. So Prabhupada still sent three couples, American couples, to London to preach. How much knowledge you think these couples had? Hardly any of the scriptures. Sincere in their declaration to Prabhupada, they still preached to George Harrison Beatles. They got in contact with him, they preached to him, and through George Harrison, they did full activity. They recorded this album, and then Mahamantra became a household name all over the world. And then they got money to preach, they got developed centers, and temples where more preachers, where more devotees could join and more preachers can come out and preach more vividly. So these householders, they didn't have a whole lot of knowledge at that time because even the books were not there. And how much association they had of Prabhupada? Hardly any. But they had full faith in Prabhupada and they were sincerely trying to serve the instructions of Srila Prabhupada. So they had all the success. They were not sannyasis, they were grihasthas, simple grihasthas. And they hardly had any money to even stay in London and preach. Still, Krishna gave them all success. Krishna made their words very potent, very powerful, and gave them all the success. So they were trying to control the senses, but they were still engaging in Krishna consciousness. This is a safer place for all us to be at. So last verse for today's session, text number 8. Niyatam kuru karma tvam karma jyayo karmana shariryatrapi chate na prasiddhyeda karmanaha. Perform your prescribed duty, for doing so is better than not working. One cannot even maintain one's physical body without work. So finally Krishna is telling Arjuna, you should perform your prescribed duty. You're a Kshatriya, your job is to fight. And you're a householder, take care of the family, take care of the family. There are many pseudo-meditators who misrepresent themselves as belonging to high parentage or great professional men who falsely pose that they have sacrificed everything for the sake of advancement in spiritual life. Lord Krishna did not want Arjuna to become a pretender. Means through Arjuna, he is trying to tell us, do not become a pretender. Become a sincere student. Try to control the senses. At the same time, work in Krishna consciousness. Rather, the Lord desired that Arjuna perform his prescribed duties as set forth for Kshatriyas. Arjuna was a householder and a military general, and therefore it was better for him to remain as such and perform his religious duties as prescribed for the householder Kshatriya. Such activities gradually cleanse the heart of a mundane man and free him from material contamination. So-called renunciation for the purpose of maintenance is never approved by the Lord, nor by any religious scripture. After all, one has to maintain one's body and soul together by some work. So work should not be given up capriciously or whimsically, without purification of materialistic propensities. So most important thing is purification, and that purification can happen when one is engaged in the activities of serving Krishna. Anyone who is in the material world is certainly possessed of the impure propensity for lording it over material nature, or in other words, for sense gratification. such polluted propensities have to be cleared. Without doing so, through prescribed duties, one should never attempt to become a so-called transcendentalist, renouncing work and living at the cost of others. So one does not have to renounce work to reach Krishna. One has to come to the level of complete purification by acting in Krishna consciousness, and one can do that. And then, even then, one does not renounce work. One gets into the pure work of serving Krishna or preaching his words. So that's also great work. But as long as we are not purified, as long as the order is not there, we should not try to renounce everything. Just like in Chaitanya Charitamrita, also it is mentioned, Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami, although they were two of the great six Goswamis that we know of, but when they were working under Nawab Hussain Shah, they were working as big. One was as a prime minister and one was like chief minister, something like that. They were working at the great position, but they were so fed up of their work because they were having they dwell in so much of attachment for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But still, Mahaprabhu didn't allow them to leave the jobs. They wanted to leave. They asked Mahaprabhu for his approval. Mahaprabhu didn't allow that. Mahaprabhu, in fact, this sentence has been used in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita that Prabhupada gave. Mahaprabhu gave them the one-line answer. He said, just like a wife, a married woman, if she has an extramarital affair, she takes care of household duties so nicely, at the same time thinking of her lover in such a way that nobody doubts, because she is taking care of the duties, household activities, very nicely. So basically this gave the message to Rupa Goswami and Sanatan Goswami that they should carry on with their material duties, but at the same time, they can continue thinking of or doing the activities of Krishna consciousness so nicely, so nobody could find fault in their material duties either. And then Mahaprabhu said, when the right time comes, Krishna himself will make the arrangement for you to leave the jobs and join me. So we have to, if we want to take up the full process of Krishna consciousness, or take it up permanently or fully or full time, means then we have to come to that level, and Krishna will definitely make the arrangement for our transition. But at the same time, if we are working, taking care of our household activities, duties, material duties, and at the same time trying to work in Krishna consciousness, trying to serve Krishna, we should do it very nicely, both the activities, so that there is nobody can find any fault in the material duties either, material activities either. So I'll stop here. It's 4:46 right now. I know we still have lots of time. Let's see if anybody has any question or comments.
Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Prabhuji, one question I have. It has been told that Grihastha Ashram and Sannyas Ashram. Grihastha Ashram is always better than Sannyas Ashram. So why is it so?
No, every ashram is good. I mean, ashram means where we can do spiritual activities and make advancement. So even Grihastha life, we can make advancement. It's not that we cannot. Grihastha ashram has its own set of responsibilities and activities. Sannyasa ashram has its own set of responsibilities and activities. So it depends. One who is fit for which ashram, then he can live in that ashram and take up those activities and make progress. That's all.
So, Prabhuji, why I ask this question is, there is a confusion here. So when we say somebody is in sannyasa ashram or have taken sannyasa, he is more dedicated towards his goal, or like all he has to do out of this materialistic nature or materialistic world, he has to just concentrate on uh, on God, and all the time he is just chanting and doing his devotional activities. But we have seen that in Grihast Ashram, like you said in today's uh, preaching, you said that in the Grihastha, we are doing those activities, chanting or in the Krishna consciousness all the time, but also household activities we are parallelly doing it, right? So the confusion is like in sannyasa ashram, you're most all the time you are there. You are dedicated to your devotional goals. But in grihast, you are also handling your day-to-day activity along with your devotional service. So why is it still? I mean, is it? So do you think isn't that the sannyasa ashram is better than grihastha ashram? And then why is it told that Grihastha ashram is better than Sannyasa ashram? So there is a confusion in it, in these two things.
See, the thing is, it's not which is better and which is worst. It's if one is in sannyasa ashram, one is qualified, eligible for sannyasa ashram. He is in sannyasa ashram, and if he is taking care of his duties there, he is good. Just like in one of the lectures, I think at Pramod Mohanty Prabhu's place, because I'm preaching to all the grastas here in this class, so I have to speak according to my audience. If I was giving the same lecture to brahmacharis, it would be a different lecture.
Okay.
Grasta ashram is good. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. Who says Grasta ashram is bad? But sannyasa ashram is also good. Because sannyasa ashram, we have more opportunity to engage our mind, engage our senses in the service of Krishna. 24 hours, there are opportunities. Direct service of Krishna. Grasta ashram, we have so many other duties to take care of. While at the same time, we can engage our mind and senses in the service of Krishna. So both ashrams are good. A person in Grihastha ashram, like one of our sannyasis, he explained, he is on a passenger train to Golok Vrindavan. A person in sannyas or brahmachari ashram, he is on an express train to Golok Vrindavan. So what is the advantage? So express train obviously advantage that he can go faster, because their only job is throughout engage mind and senses in the service of Krishna. That's all. But Grihastha ashram, he has to take care of other activities. So it's a passenger train. It goes very slowly. But the advantage is if you fall down or if you get off an express train, then the train is gone. You cannot get back on. But passenger train, if you still fall down or still get off, you can still run and get up, get on that train and keep going. Fall down means if you stop doing the spiritual activities, take it easy for a while. People do that. But if you're in sannyasa ashram and you take it easy, there's no taking it easy over there. then you better get on the passenger train. So Grihastha ashram is a safe ashram. But at the same time, we have to understand the emergency of this Krishna consciousness. We have to take it up seriously. But at the same time, when we are in Grihastha ashram, we cannot live the life of a brahmachari or a sannyasi. We cannot adopt that life, because that is not for this ashram. It doesn't mean, at the same time, brahmacharis or sannyasis, they should not think we are better than grihasthas. Or grihasthas should not think I'm better than sannyasi or brahmachari. A grihastha should not think that, oh, these are like scums, they are like weights on the society, dead weight on the society, they don't do anything. they're basically eating and sleeping and having nice prasadam. No, they are doing their activities. We cannot live as brahmacharis or grastas. So we should respect that ashram. We should try to find good points. They're very good points. It's not easy to leave everything and live in the ashram, in the temple, as a brahmachari or sannyasi, when so many pullings of Maya are there. Brahmacharis, very young boys, they leave everything, leave their jobs, leave their career, leave the family, leave the cozy, comfortable life of houses, and they want to dedicate the life in the service of Krishna. It's not easy. Not at all easy. Sannyas life, again, very, very difficult, very strict rules for the sannyasis. So we should not think that we are better. We should always have respect and gratitude for other ashrams. At the same time, for brahmacharis and sannyasis also, they should not think grastas are, oh, they are low people, they are all sense gratifiers, they are just, these men are with their wives and wives are there with their men, and they are talking all sorts of activities for the kids or watching movies. No, even grasta ashram is not an easy ashram. The example I have given in the classes, that I tell all the brahmacharis that you are here, so you are in the room, same room, 3 or 4 brahmacharis, you don't like your roommate, you go complain to the temple president and he'll change your room. You don't like the service you are in, he can change your services, okay, go to this department, that department. And even if further you don't like any devotee here in this temple, they make arrangements for you go to another temple and some other person can come here. So some arrangements, some situations can be taken care of this way. But in Grahast life, whether you like your wife or not, you have to live with her in the same room. You have to see the same face for the next, 50, 60, 70, 80 years. Live with the same person, whether you like it or not. So both ashrams have their own pluses and minuses. But the idea behind the ashram means where we do spiritual activities and try to make spiritual advancement. So we try to engage ourselves, even while living as a grahastha, while working, having a full-time job, taking care of kids, taking care of wives, taking care of relatives, parents, still try to be Krishna conscious. It's not easy. It's not at all easy. It's a challenge. But at the same time, in sannyas life, brahmachari life, there are challenges. Many, many, many challenges. And these challenges is what makes us more strong. These challenges are there to make sure that we are eligible to go back to the spiritual world. That's what the challenges are there for. And anybody can become perfect in whatever ashram he is in. Look at all the students of all the scriptures. Parikshit Maharaj was a grahastha. Arjun was a grahastha. When Vidurji got the instructions from Maitreya Muni, he was a grahastha. Look at them. They're all grahasthas. And they're getting so much of spiritual knowledge. And when we come to 4th chapter, we'll see Krishna will tell Arjun that I gave this knowledge first to sun god Vivaswan. And now I am giving it to you. Means for millions and millions of years, Krishna did not find a single suitable person to give the knowledge to. Knowledge of Bhagavad Gita to. Sun god Vivaswan is also grahastha and Arjun was also a grahastha. He did not give the knowledge to any sannyasi or a brahmachari. Means anybody can become a pure devotee. It's for everybody. Anybody and everybody. That's the idea. But we should not look down upon other ashrams or people of other ashrams. Bhakti means we have to be humble. So we have to look at the good points of others. And everybody has good points. Is that okay?
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Wow, very good explanation. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Any other question or comment?
Yeah, one question, Prabhu.
Yes, Radha.
So we were talking about Grihasthas as having no option. Once they get married, they have to for many years. But today, in today's society, a lot of things have changed. So no more people are tolerating one person for a lifetime. So the moment they find that some compatibility problem is there, they think that we can get out of that and we can find another partner. So is this something approved by the scriptures?
Well, no, not really. But Kali Yuga, it's Kali Yuga now. So what to do? We can expect that in 12th canto it is said that boy and girl, they'll come together based on sense gratification, and once their ideas are not fulfilled, then they'll separate. They'll leave each other. Actually, well, so divorces will happen. That is mentioned in Kali Yuga. But the idea is, yes, um, there could be lots of disagreements. Main thing is, if we can remain Krishna consciousness while remaining through those differences, best thing is to continue. But if there are so many issues that you cannot remain, it's very difficult to continue with the bhakti. It's better than committing offenses, better separate. Because offenses will again take us down. So one has to see that situation. It can vary from person to person, and spiritual authorities are the right people who can guide.
Right.
There's no one answer that fits all. Like,
Okay. Okay, Prabhu. Thank you.
okay? Thank you, Prabhu. Subbu Prabhu, any expert comments? I was hoping for some comments from you.
No, Prabhuji. Very happy with the answers.
Thank you, Prabhu. So it's 5 o'clock. Should we stop here?
Yeah, it's 5 o'clock. I was thinking you finished the class today early, so you can tell us something about Ramananda Raya. Today is his disappearance.
Well, it's already 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Vinay Prabhu asked a nice
Already
question.
5.
So
Okay, bro.
So thank you all very
We'll
much.
read
Have a
the 8th
wonderful
chapter
evening.
of.
Thank you.
Thank you.
8th chapter. Have a
I
wonderful
said
evening.
the 8th chapter of Madhya
Yes.
Leela.
Yeah, that has a conversation of Mahaprabhu and Ramananda Rai. Yeah, we can read that. That's wonderful. Thank you all very much. Hare Krishna. Jai Srila Prabhupada.
Krishna.
Thank you, Guruji.
Thank you.